So here's my sash that we're going to glaze with, okay? And we've already primed it, okay? Oil-based primer, it's ready to go. And I've got my glazing kit right here, and I've got a nice putty knife here. I've got a point driver. It's antique point driver. This basically operates like a stapler, but it shoots glazing points to hold the glass in place. I've got a glazing hammer. Okay, that's going to be used to drive my points in further if need be. I have a magic dust brush. I have magic dust, and what that is, that's going to help clean my glass after I putty it. And then I'm going to be using Sarco Multi-Glaze Type M putty, okay? And that's because this is the best stuff, all right? The stuff you get at the home store, they intentionally make it so that it's infuriating, can I say that? Infuriating, gosh, to glaze with, thank you. What the heck is wrong with me? See, infuriating. Oh, I said it. You did it. It's infuriating to glaze with. Enunciation is so important. So, but one of the things that makes the home store glazing so infuriating is that it takes so long to set up before you can paint it. Maybe a month. Oh yeah, how are you going to get any progress with that? But with this product, they have formulated it so it sets up so that you can paint it in 2 days. Oh, isn't that nice? Now you can get some momentum. Now you can finish the job. Now you can collect from Mrs. Smith, right? And not have to explain to her, well, your windows aren't done yet because the glazing still hasn't set up, you know, whatever. So, okay, now look, this has already been opened. Ah, I have a layer of water on top. Okay, and what that is that's your tip for when you buy a bucket of Sarco Type M, okay, and you use it to glaze your windows and you don't use all of it. You want to pat it down flat in the bucket, pour a little layer of water on it, okay, and then that will keep it from skinning over, because if this stuff skins over in 2 days, you know, which is designed to do, it'll do that in the bucket and it'll create little chunks in there that make it hard to glaze with. Okay, so basically what I'll do is I'll just pour this out somewhere. There you go, I'll pour it out in that, why not? I usually pour it out on the ground, but that's kind of, I'm in the museum part of the shop, that's probably not the thing to do. So anyway, so then, you know, I might, you know, pat it dry or something like that with a paper towel or something, get any excess water out. Okay. The nitrile gloves they're expensive now, but they used to be pretty cheap, but they're still, I think they're still a valuable player in this enterprise. So I'm gonna take some here, okay? Now, here's another tip, okay? I've already opened this bucket. I've already used out of this bucket. I've already glazed a window out of this bucket, okay? But before I do that with a fresh opening bucket, first thing I do is I'll take the entire contents out, okay, onto a table, and I'll knead it all back together, okay? And one of the reasons why is because this is made from natural resources, natural materials, natural oils and things like that. And so what happens is it's like natural peanut butter, and it starts to separate, right? And a lot of times, depending on how they might store it, you have a higher concentration of oils at the top than you do at the bottom, right? And that's just happens over time. It just migrates one way or the other, right? So what you want to do to get a nice consistent putty blend, like it came out of the factory, is you want to go ahead and just re-blend it all, right? And then put it back in your bucket, okay? That's really important, because people always say it's so sticky or it's so dry, you know, and the answer to that is, well, remix the whole thing and then you get the consistent batch all the way throughout, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take a ball like this, and I'm going to put a bed of putty all around on this little shelf called the Glazing Rabbit, okay? And what that's going to do is that's going to provide a nice cushion to place the glass in, for one, okay? It's also going to provide a nice seal on the inside, and it's also going to take up any space in between the glass and the frame all the way around, okay? And then it's also going to intermingle and mix with the putty that we put on the top, so you have a nice consistent bond all the way around, okay? Now other people will ask the question, well, could you put a bead of caulking down and to seal the glass in? And the answer to that is yes. But when you do that, what you do is you put two incompatible materials back to back, right, that are then competing for the seal, okay? And they never will mix, so there's that problem. The second problem is that caulking is so aggressive that if something ever happens and the glass needs to be taken out and put back in, forget it. You can't do it. The caulking, you can't do it. You know, you can't get the glass out. It's impossible. This stuff is designed. It's not as though it's designed. It's just emerged over you know, our humanity's experience of making windows as being the most advantageous way to do this type of window, is to use this type of putty long term, because that's people used to do it long term, right? Now with a quick, easy, cheap fix, caulk it in and done, right? No, what you're doing is you're like not having mercy on the person that's coming after you, right?
Want to hang them.
Yeah, and you want to hang them. And there's a little chihuahua that roams the street. It's like it's the zombie chihuahua, right?
It's called Margie in disguise, and it's going to
right,
get you.
right. So that every time somebody deals with that sash that you caulked in, that chihuahua is going to come and take a chunk out of your calf or your ankle. You know. So anyway, that's your karma. So all right. So again, so here's how I do it. Right. I've got it in my hand, okay, and I'm gonna use my thumb, okay, to push it. And I'm gonna use a push stroke away from my body, okay, to then scrape it off of my thumb, okay, into that glazing rabbit. See that? Okay, isn't that nice?
Yep.
Now, don't think that you can do it as fluidly as I'm doing it right now the first time, because it's simply not that easy. I wish that it were.
Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, but people will try all kinds of things, okay, to get that in there, but nothing works better than the thumb push as you go along, okay? You get better and better and better. And now here I'm kind of pulling along now because I'm on the edge, but like, let's turn my sash a little bit, okay? And once you get good at it, you know, maybe you can do it in one kind of long, continuous motion. And some people will say, how much, or ask, how much do you put in there? Well, enough, okay? And I mean, there's not a real definitive answer on that. I mean, you can only fit so much in there, but the truth is that you want enough in there so that you can squeeze out some excess on the other side, right? That's what's important, to squeeze out the excess, okay? And the excess, then you can trim from the inside, okay? Put that there for a moment. I'm going to go and grab my glass. Let's see. Also, this is a bottom sash, okay? So in a bottom sash, the glass slides up into a channel here, okay? And people will say, well, do you glaze that? Well, yes and no, but not the way that you do the sides and the bottom. This, you will shove the glazing up into the crack, okay? And then tool it out so that this surface remains flat. Yeah. So now I've got it in here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to gently go along the perimeter here, and I'm going to press it down. And I'm going to push my squeeze out. You see how it's squeezing out there? All on the inside. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's how you know you've got a good seal. Okay, and then once you've got it pressed down sufficiently, then you take your clicker or your point driver, affectionately known as a clicker, and then I'm going to put in a point about every 6 to 8 inches, okay? Give or take, you know, it's not an exact science. It's enough to hold the glass in. How's that, okay? So I'm going to look around and see that my points are in sufficiently. I'm just going to give them a little tap to make sure they're in. See how my hammerhead sits flat anywhere on the glass I put it? Isn't that nice? Okay. Now you get this from Lee Valley, okay? Remember, a home store will sell you nothing that will help you do this because they want you to buy their Anderson windows. That's why. So now I've got that in. One of the things I have to do now is I've got all that squeeze out on the inside. Now's the time to get the squeeze out, okay? So I'm gonna take my knife here and I'm going to run it along the inside and get my squeeze out. Okay. There we go. Now at this point in time, it might be wise to get out the first iteration of your magic dust, okay? And this is a magic dust brush. I've got my magic dust right here. You can get the magic dust from us if you like, okay? And I'm gonna here and I'm going to gently dust off the fingerprints off the backside, okay? That's what, now this is your preview of what magic dust does for you, okay? I got fingerprints right there. That's nice, okay? So we got any more? Okay, those are all on the other side. See, one of the advantages to doing the inside now is that I'm going to come back through and top glaze this, but I'm also going to apply pressure on this, okay? And maybe get a little bit more squeeze out. Okay, that's fine. You're going to see later on, I'm going to put magic dust all over this to clean all these fingerprints off and stuff. Okay, and then you might be tempted to turn it over, okay, and magic dust it the same way. Okay, you can do that. Okay, but you also risk some of the glazing deforming because of the gravity, and it's so fresh, right? And it's, you know, gravity's pulling it down. So I'm gonna, once I glaze it, I would like to leave it in this position or the position that the sash is gonna sit naturally, so that I can, you know, so that it settles in the way that it's gonna sit forever. So, all right, so now I've got all that done. Well, I cleaned out the inside, the squeeze out, so that I could see where the shelf terminates. You see that little gray line there? Okay, that's the inside of my shelf. Okay, and when I glaze it, when I put my glazing putty in, I don't want my glazing putty to go beyond that line. Okay, and the reason why is I'm going to paint the sash, and I don't want the paint color on the outside to show on the inside. Okay, so what I'll actually do is I will leave a little bit, just a fraction of my shelf showing from the inside, because I will actually want to paint up to that line with a very small dainty line. Okay, and I do that on purpose right now. So what I was saying also too about your prep, you know, when I use my glazing knife to pull and tool my glazing putty, I'm going to come along this edge here, and if this edge is smooth in a nice straight line, it's easy to get a nice straight line, right? But if it's bumpy and jagged, the harder it's going to be to get a nice straight line. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a guide. So that's one of the things that you're doing in your prep in advance, is trying to get a nice straight line on the edges. Okay, so that you can glaze easily. So the same way that I put the glazing in the rabbit, I'm going to go, or for the bedding, I'm going to do that here and just put this in as well. Okay.
Can you see?
Yes, I can see. Yeah.
There we go. Put that there. Isn't that nice? Okay. Another technique, you can use your palm and shove it in with your palm. Like that, that's kind of nice. That works really well. Okay. Now I've loaded it, okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to work from my corners inward, and I'm going to feather my knife strokes to the inside, okay? So I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to really try to finish, although I can exit the outside and outside corners, but when I'm detailing, I'm going to feather it to the inside. So here I go. This is like a pull stroke, and this is to get the majority of my excess out. Okay. See, I'm just doing it like a major cut there, and I'll go in here and I'll pull this out like that. Okay. Then here, I'll go to here. I'm going to start in the corner and I'm going to pull this way. Okay. And I'm not expecting to get a good corner here on my exit stroke. I will work on that coming the other direction in just a second. Okay, there's that. And this is my creeping pick move. I'm going to come in here and just gently pull that out. Creep up on it, okay? And then I'm going to come over here and smooth that out. Lots of little micro skills going on here, okay? One of the things you probably can't see or don't know to pay attention to is the angle of my knife, okay? The angle of my knife that I'm using to pull the glazing, okay? One of the ways to think about smoothing out glazing is think about how you would smooth peanut butter or cake frosting, right? You know, when you're doing that, look, your knife is really, really low, right? Okay? Okay? You don't spread cake frosting like this, right? Look what happens, okay? So, but see, if I have my knife really low, look how smooth I can get it. See that? Isn't that nice? This is just my chunk in the middle, see? Ooh, look at that. See, it's starting to look really good, okay? But if I go high, like that, you know, I get the same results as if I go high like that. See how it tears? You don't want to tear, you want it to be smooth. So look how, see if I put it low like that, then I get a nice smooth surface, okay? Mm-hmm. So, but look, if you can see it, I can barely see the shelf on the inside all the way around. Mm-hmm. So I did a good initial cut, but it's not perfect. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do some micro slices, okay? Come in here and there we go. Come in here and take that little bit up there. There you go. I will focus on my corners and work to the middle like I was saying, okay? Now also, you'll notice I go right and left-handed, okay? So those who are ambidextrous have an advantage here, okay? Isn't that nice? Okay. Oops. If you mess it up, it's okay.
Very nice.
Isn't that nice? Okay. Now it's very quick and very easy. Okay. Not everybody can glaze that fast. Some people can glaze faster. Israel can glaze faster and cleaner than me. He's my top employee there, so he's been doing it for quite a while. Okay, so. But after 10,000 sashes, guess what? You better be pretty good. All right, so now all that's left really is this crack in here, okay? And I'm going to take some here and I'm going to shove it in the crack with my knife or my fingers, probably my knife because that works pretty good, see? I'm just going to shove it in to fill up the space. little bit more there. Isn't that nice? Okay. Okay. Okay, scrape the excess out. Okay, and then I'm going to smooth it. See how when I scraped it, look how rough it is. Okay, but when I get my knife down really low, to smooth it out. See that? See how? So most people don't think about that. You know, they're like when they're glazing at first, they're like trying to do like this, you know, and it doesn't come out smooth. You have to have your knife really low, really almost parallel with the line you're trying to strike. Okay, like you go like this, man, you're never gonna get it looking right. Okay, so anyway, so that's that. So that's there. I might have a little bit more to get off. Yeah, I do. See, that's good. Okay.
So for that side where you have the groove, you only fill the groove with that. You actually don't glaze it like the rest of them.
No, you don't. Yeah, that's exactly right, Manuel. Okay.
Okay.
We got something in there. Let's have a little rock or something in there. Oh, there we go. Smooth it out a little bit. See. So now I'll get my magic dust out. Okay.
There's some up here.
I'll get my magic dust out, and magic dust, okay, people will say, oh, I'm going to mess up with my magic dust. And yes, you will mess up a little bit with your magic dust, but that's okay, because if you expect to mess up a little bit, knowing that you're going to go back and do some fine-tune adjustments, then, you know, you'll be more okay with it, right? So, but look, I'm going to go, when I put my magic dust on, look, see how I'm going parallel with my line, okay? So my pressure is down on the glass. It's not going to my glaze, okay? So that's one little secret, okay? And then see, I'm going this way. I'm going. My pressure is on the glass. I got a lot of pressure on the glass too, okay? See how it's licking those oil spots up, where the
Right.
man.
It's like magic.
Yeah, it's magic. You know, see how it just takes up those oils? Isn't that nice? You know, see? Oh, look, see? There's that little hair there. See, it also picks up those little hairs a little bit, see? Little hairs are left over, okay? Now, if I didn't have people standing around all this thing, I'd be real aggressive at blowing the dust everywhere, you know? Because, you know, I can get real aggressive. Look at that spot right there. Watch, it just disappears. Isn't that nice? Mm-hmm. And the advantage is that you don't have to go clean it later. Will you have to clean? Will you have to clean your glass later? Yes. Okay. But if you don't get this residue off right now, it will coagulate. It will harden. It will set up, and you will be forced to do it with a razor blade. Okay, which you don't want to do. Okay. So now one tool that I like to have at this point is a vacuum. Israel, he likes to use a blower, you know, but, you know, not by blower I mean like the air nozzle, you know, that kind of thing. That really blows us everywhere, but, you know, so I just put this right here right now. Put that there. There we go. I just sweep it to the side. Oh, it's so nice. Look at that. On my hat. Look. You want to get this little stuff off right there, so you got that on there. But that's really good. So that's my nice glazed window. Nice. It's almost done though. I'm almost done, but not quite, because what you have left, look, see I got a little thing right there. I'm going to clean up my corners, okay? I actually learned this trick from Israel. Israel is like the cleanest ever. So I got a little booger right there. And he's going to come, we're going to come in and we're just going to detail our corner right now, because at some point you're going to have to detail it so that you can paint it properly. Okay? There's that. So, there you go. Isn't that nice?
Cool.
Okay. So there you go. So maybe next week we'll get to glaze, right? Okay. Now we're good. Excellent. A little booger right there. Look at that.